All right, here's Jimmy Kennedy in Colorado Springs. Jimmy, fresh off the World Championships, you've had some time to sort of collect yourself, regroup, think about it. Looking back on your performance, how do you evaluate yourself?
It was a good experience. Obviously, not the results that I had wanted, but the only thing I can do now is learn from my mistakes and go back and correct them, and just so that wasn't for a waste. It's a tough tournament, and if you don't wrestle every match, then that kind of thing can happen.
Well, what do you think the difference was for you in that tournament? I mean, why that guy? Why that round? What happened?
I think the weight cut got to me. I mean, both times I'd wrestled this year, I had over 24 hours to recover, and here I only had about 18. So I just never felt explosive, like it got my legs underneath me. But those are all excuses, and in the end, it's just about getting the job done, and that's what we have to go off of.
That hadn't been an issue for you all year, has it? The weight cut. I mean, has that been something?
No, it's been good. I mean, I've had 2 kilo allowance for most tournaments, and then for the Open, that was a 2-day tournament, and then the trials, I sat out till 5 o'clock that night. So it didn't exactly mimic the structure of the Worlds, which I hadn't completely expected. But like I said, that's just something you have to remember next time.
So what positive things do you take away from it? Obviously you didn't reach your goal of being a world champion, but I know you were, 6'6" with the guy who won it, a few months prior to that. So, I mean, what did you take away from that experience that's going to help you?
Just looking back at matches and breaking down the small things, where I got scored on, where I was scoring from, and going back to those things and really tweaking the areas that you need to fine in on. And I mean, I know, like you said, the world champ, I had 6-6 match with him, so I know I'm right there with those guys, and I just got to look forward.
Awesome. So you're deciding to bump up weight 65 kilos. What's the thinking behind that?
I didn't like the fact that going into Worlds, I felt like something that I really had little control over my weight. After weigh-ins and how I felt. I'm not sure how much more I could have done in terms of dieting to make that transition easier, and I'd rather be in a position where I can wrestle 100% on that day, on the day of Worlds, and give myself a chance to win. And I mean, I'd make the jump eventually, and giving myself a year to adjust to that new weight class before the Olympic year, I think that's also a big part in the decision.
Yeah, I was just going to say, is the Olympic weight, is that one of the big factors into it?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't be 61 forever, and I don't even know if I'd want to be that. That was kind of brutal, but the adjustment, the grace period for that year, I think will help out.
Yeah, and you've wrestled most of the guys at that weight, already. A lot of them dropped down, or wrestled both weights, I guess, at both trials. I mean, how do you see yourself stacking up? What are your biggest challenges?
I think the biggest thing is just not letting the weight cut get to my head, and just going out there and wrestling it like it was any match this year or whatever it was. But just not wrestling the weight class, but wrestling the opponent.
Okay, yeah. And I mean, you feel like you're going to be big enough, strong
yeah,
enough
I mean,
for that weight?
I think I've been big enough the past few years.
Yeah.
This is the time I chose to make the jump.
All right, man. Well, just got married. Talk about that a little bit. What's it like?
It's good. We just got back from our honeymoon a week and a half ago, so just getting back to reality, starting to work out again, and starting to lift. I haven't lifted in a couple of years, so it's a different change, but it's one I'm excited to make.
Right. I mean, is it cool for you to have someone who's always in your corner and always right there for you, supporting you? What's that dynamic like? You're going on.
Yeah, she's always been really supportive. Flying out to the trials, she had a flight from Flint. That got canceled, so then she drove to Chicago at midnight to catch the connecting flight and made it here 4 hours before I wrestled. So she's been great and always following me and making sure that she's doing whatever she can to help support me. And now the fact that we're married, it just strengthens that bond.
Right. And still training out in Michigan, right?
Ann Arbor.
Yeah. So I mean, Go Blue. Yeah. So what's your? How do you feel about your training situation? I guess you mean you gonna be there for a while. You gonna
Yeah.
stick
I mean, the
that
plan
out?
is through 2016, and I got guys like Kellen and
Right.
Josh there, and then the coaching staff I think is one of the best in the nation with Sean and now Kellen's volunteer assistant Joe, and then I got Andy, my own personal coach. I don't think there's any regional training sites that have their own personal coach. And then not to mention all the college guys coming in, their program's growing every year, and they're just getting good, tough guys in there that are ready to battle.
How is that college team looking? I mean, they got some pretty good
They've been
recruits
scrapping.
lately. Yeah.
I made it in there the past week, and they get after it, and that's what you want out of a college program. And I mean, that's what I want too. I don't want guys to come in and take a back door when I wrestle them, but these guys, they're coming after me and really mimicking the style of wrestling that I'll see overseas. People aren't just going to back up and run out of bounds from you.
Awesome, man. Well, anything else for me?
Nope.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim.
Yep.